Joshua. Chapter 19. Verse 1. The second lot came out for the tribe of Simeon according to its clans. Their inheritance lay within the territory of Judah. Verse 2. It included Beersheba, or Sheba, Melada. Verse 3. Hazar Shual, Belah, Ezem. Verse 4. Eltolad, Bethel, Hormah. Verse 5. Ziklag, Beth Markaboth, Hazar Susa. Verse 6. Beth Lebi and Sharuan, 13 towns and their villages. Verse 7. An, Rimmon, Ether and Ashan, 4 towns and their villages. Verse 8. And all the villages around these towns as far as Baalath Beer. Ramah in the Negev. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the Simeonites, according to its clans. Verse 9. The inheritance of the Simeonites was taken from the share of Judah, because Judah's portion was more than they needed. So the Simeonites received their inheritance within the territory of Judah. Verse 10. The third lot came up for Zebulun according to its clans. The boundary of their inheritance went as far as Sarad. Verse 11. Going west it ran to Maralah, touched Dabbasheth, and extended to the ravine near Jonium. Verse 12. It turned east from Sarad toward the sunrise to the territory of Kisloth Tabor and went on to Dabarath and up to Japhia. Verse 13. Then it continued eastward to Gath Hepher and Eth Kazan. It came out at Rimmon and turned toward Nia. Verse 14. There the boundary went around on the north to Hanathan and ended at the valley of Iftarel. Verse 15. Included were Kattath, Nahalal, Shimron, Adalah and Bethlehem. There were 12 towns and their villages. Verse 16. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of Zebulun, according to its clans. Verse 17. The fourth lot came out for Issachar according to its clans. Verse 18. Their territory included Jezreel, Kesullath, Shunem. Verse 19. Hapharam, Shean, Anaharath. Verse 20. Rabbath, Kishon, Ebers. Verse 21. Remeth, En-Ganim, En-Hadar and Beth Pazez. Verse 22. The boundary touched Tabor, Shahazuma and Beth Shemesh, and ended at the Jordan. There were 16 towns and their villages. Verse 23. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Issachar, according to its clans. Verse 24. The fifth lot came out for the tribe of Asher according to its clans. Verse 25. Their territory included Helkath, Hali, Beton, Akshaph. Verse 26. Alamelech, Amad and Mishal. On the west the boundary touched Carmel and Shihor-Libnath. Verse 27. It then turned east toward Beth Dagon, touched Zebulun and the valley of Iftarel, and went north to Beth Emek and Neiel, passing Kabul on the left. Verse 28. It went to Abdon, Rehob, Hammon and Cana, as far as Greater Sidon. Verse 29. The boundary then turned back toward Ramah and went to the fortified city of Tyre, turned toward Hossa and came out at the Mediterranean Sea in the region of Akzib. Verse 30. Ummah, Aphek and Rehob. There were 22 towns and their villages. Verse 31. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Asher, according to its clans. Verse 32. The sixth lot came out for Naphtali according to its clans. Verse 33. Their boundary went from Heleph and the large tree in Zaananim, passing Adami Nekeb and Jabneel to Lacham and ending at the Jordan. Verse 34. The boundary ran west through Aznoth Tabor and came out at Hukkok. It touched Zebulun on the south, Asher on the west and the Jordan on the east. Verse 35. The fortified towns were Ziddim, Zeddah, Hamath, Rakkath, Kinnereth. Verse 36. Adamah, Ramah, Hazor. Verse 37. Kedesh, Edrei, En-Hazor. Verse 38. Iron, Migdal-El, Horem, Beth-Anath and Beth-Shemesh. There were 19 towns and their villages. Verse 39. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Naphtali, according to its clans. Verse 40. The seventh lot came out for the tribe of Dan according to its clans. Verse 41. The territory of their inheritance included Zorah, Eshtaol, Ir-Shemesh. Verse 42. Shalaban, Aijalon, Ithla. Verse 43. Elon, Timnah, Ekron. Verse 44. Eltekeh, Gibbethon, Baalath. Verse 45. Jehud, Bene Barak, Gath Rimmon. Verse 46. Me-Jarkon and Rakkon, with the area facing Joppa. Verse 47. When the territory of the Danites was lost to them, they went up and attacked Leshem, took it, put it to the sword and occupied it. They settled in Leshem and named it Dan after their ancestor. Verse 48. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Dan, according to its clans. Verse 49. When they had finished dividing the land into its allotted portions, the Israelites gave Joshua son of Nun an inheritance among them. Verse 50. As the Lord had commanded, they gave him the town he asked for, Timnath-Serah in the hill country of Ephraim. And he built up the town and settled there. Verse 51. These are the territories that Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun and the heads of the tribal clans of Israel assigned by lot at Shiloh in the presence of the Lord at the entrance to the tent of meeting. And so they finished dividing the land.